Ladies and gentlemen, I have a confession to make. And that is that I am dumb. That is that I am very dumb. Because I totally forgot what this magical button right here does. When I like to launch the question catapults, I like to mute the freaking mic. And then I carried on the last 10 minutes of the previous episode, basically talking to nobody. So what we're doing is we are just going to go ahead and slap this right on to the end of that one. And we're going to redo the question catapults. And you guys know how all that goes. So we're just going to go ahead and jump into the question. And that is from Yasamink. And he or she is asking an amazing question. I'm really happy the way I answered it the first time. But I'm going to say it again because there's some good stuff to talk about here. In fact, I could probably condense it down a little bit. It kind of went into a big old life story. Didn't need to hear all that crap. But here she is asking. They live in Australia and they're wanting to work for a game company like Riot Games or Blizzard Entertainment. And they want to know my thoughts and experiences on moving to a place where you're going to work, like both emotionally and economic-wise. Okay? And I'll be happy. I will be happy to answer this question for you, Yasmin. So let's talk about, first of all, me moving out to California to work for Riot Games. Because originally I lived in Utah, right? I'm back here now working remotely for them. But originally, I didn't move out there to work for Riot Games. I moved out there because I just wanted to try something new with my best friend, Jake. And Jake was like, hey, you know what? We should just move to California. Or he was already in California. So you should come out here and move with me, and we should get an apartment. And we did, and it was freaking awesome. At the time, I was working for a local company just illustrating books, right? Making $10 an hour. $10 an hour. And it was just enough to make ends meet. California is an expensive place to live. Especially Valencia, right? Santa Clarita, Valencia, right next to Six Flags. If you guys haven't been there, I highly recommend you go ride Tatsu and X2. If you like roller coasters, not like my girlfriend, she literally almost died. She hasn't ridden roller coasters ever in her life, and she's like, just take me on the biggest one first. And I was like, are you sure you want to do that? And we went on freaking X2 for like her first roller coaster ever, besides like the crappy ones at like the little theme parks they have here. And needless to say, she puked for the rest of the day. She did that, then Tatsu, and then went on Riddler's Revenge. She was literally like a corpse on Riddler's Revenge. I looked over on the side. Like, I was enjoying myself. I looked over to the side. Her head was just like moving around like this. She had gone completely into shock. I think she fainted on the ride. And for the rest of the day, she spent puking. But anyway, that's Valencia for you. So I moved out there to live with my best friend, Jake. And things were going well with illustrating books up until the point where the company went bankrupt, and then they said, hey, you know, the last 100 hours that you've been working on this book, we're basically not going to be able to pay you for that. So yeah, best of luck to you. Thanks again. Thanks for everything, and be on your way, right? And then I was basically kind of SOL at that point. Learn how to live on next to nothing. Had to ask myself some very important questions, such as, do I feed my cat or do I feed myself? And of course, I chose the proper answer to that. Of course, you always feed the cat first, right? So I fed him, and I learned how to make my own beans, live off of rice, tortillas, and all this stuff, right? Sit on the ground watching How to Train Your Dragon while the rest of my friends went out to dinner. It was a really sad part of my life, but that's okay because it was a great experience, and I wouldn't take it back for the world. Okay, so that's a little bit of the emotional stuff. Let's talk about some of the good things that happened. So eventually, the way that I actually got introduced to Riot Games and League of Legends was through my friend Jake. He said, hey, check out this game. It's really fun. It's you can play it for free. It's like this online arena game where you like fight and try to like destroy each other's bases. And I was like, oh, that's like super cool. That's like that game Dawn of the Ancients or Defense of the Ancients that I never got to play, right? I never got to play it on Warcraft 3 because I just didn't really get into it, but I always thought it looked cool. So that's like that game. And so I got into it, and after a few months, I actually ran into somebody, strangely enough, in the game that said they knew somebody. They had a contact from the company. And I had just recently sent in my application because I was doing a lot of like fan art. For those of you who have been watching the KNKL show since the very beginning, you would know that I was doing stuff like the Kog'Maw and the Sona and the LeBlanc. And those things I was posting to YouTube. I was making time lapses. I was posting to the forums and just all over the place. And so I was really excited to see that, hey, this company, like, I really feel like I could add some value to this. I really feel like I could add something to this company. And I had something to give. So I sent in my application. Luckily, I met somebody who I really believe helped me to kind of get noticed. And a few weeks later, I ended up getting, or actually maybe it was about a month later, I ended up getting a call from them. And where was I going with that? There was something else that I really wanted to say about that. So Yeah. So, but that all happened right at the point where it was like I was working at a job at the mall. I was selling jeans at the world famous Buckle. For those of you who have not visited a Buckle in America, you have truly not been harassed. Like, you have not been truly harassed or had your personal space invaded until you walked into a Buckle and had people try to sell you jeans, right? That was what I was doing. That was what I was being trained to do. I had to bug the heck out of people to buy jeans all day. And not just jeans, like shoes. And like I had to put together complete outfits. And it was so like unnatural. I hated working there, but I didn't have any choice. And I just, like, that was a really, really terrible point in my life. But again, it's all part of that experience. Wouldn't take it back. Wouldn't change it. Wouldn't have changed it. Really happy about that stuff. And it all ended up working out because I went into the job, got the job, in-house interview, went great, and everything just was smooth sailing from that point, right? Because what actually really helped out a lot was being able to learn from people. I'm self-taught, but that's not because I wasn't just looking at videos on YouTube all the time. I met people. I met people that were better than me, people that were way better than me. And I asked them, how the heck are you doing this? Please give me some of your infinite wisdom and teach me how you do this technique. And I learned from the people that I worked with. So that's something that I would really suggest to you guys that I don't often enough. It's like, yes, it's good to watch my videos and it's good to watch tutorials online, but make sure you're trying to meet people in real life. Meet people that you are really that you look up to. Not necessarily like look up to, but like people that can be like your partners, like your rivals and like senseis, right? So look out for people like that. Okay. But you want to know what it's like to move from Australia to California. Let me give you the best advice that I can possibly give you in terms of emotional safety, emotional support, and all that stuff. Because I had the genius idea of, hey, I want to work in Santa Monica, and I'll just drive from Valencia every day. And for those of you who don't know, Valencia is about 45 minutes out from Santa Monica, but with the amazing traffic that appears on the 405 every day, which is basically one of America's most dangerous freeways in the world, it's about 2 to 3 hours one way and about 3 to 4 hours basically going home when everybody else is trying to. The question on the 405 is not if something is going to happen. The question is what happened that day. You would not believe the car pileups that I saw. Like friggin' 5, 6, 7 cars, like literally the hood of an SUV peeled back and then another car jammed inside of it. It's like unbelievable stuff. Cars on fire on the side of the road. Look like the freaking apocalypse some days. So it's like, and you think to yourself, man, it's only a matter of time before I'm one of these people. And it was me one of these days. It was me one of the days because my little brother was driving us back from the studio. And this giant truck just like merges right into us and nearly like knocks us off like into the other lane. I was certain that we were gonna like freaking spin out and start tumbling and then just get like it was gonna be that 7-car pileup all over again, you know. And it could have been really bad. But luckily, my brother's a champ and he freaking pulled off to the side of the road while the truck that hit us just kind of jetted off into the distance and we never saw him again, which really sucked. But luckily, none of us were injured at that point. But it's dangerous, okay? So that's what I'm getting at. Okay, so probably the best advice that I can give you is if you are a fan of working in the studio, if you want to move somewhere to work in a studio, make sure that you really explore your options for living close by. Ideally, you want to be able to walk or bike to that studio because do not do what I did and work there for a year and a half going back and forth, 2.5 hours one day, 3 hours going back, dodging traffic, wondering how long, what's your life expectancy, how many micromorts you're accumulating every day just by driving to and from work. It's not a good place to be, okay? So that's the best thing that I could say to save your mental health. But then economic-wise, I mean, these companies out here, they pay very well for people that have the skills that they're looking for. I think it's more than enough. And I mean, you can easily find stuff on like Glassdoor and stuff for all kinds of different salaries and stuff for people that do all kinds of different jobs. So, and of course, like California is like a very expensive place to live. So it kind of like evens out, right? Kind of evens out. But I really like the freedom of being able to work from home. So eventually I moved back to Utah. And because I don't like the idea of, I mean, I do love Santa Monica. I love California. I love visiting there. But it wasn't exactly my home. It wasn't where all my family was. It wasn't where, I just like the climate changes. I like the seasons. I like all the seasons that happen in Utah. It was just a really nice fit for me to come back here. So, yeah, but I think that the experience of moving, I mean, because here's the other thing, is that you can always go back. You can always, it's really easy to be able to set something up where you can try something else different once you kind of try one way, right? Try one path. If you don't like it, then go the other way. And that is my advice to you, Yasmin. All righty, ladies and gentlemen. So that is going to be the addendum, right? Because I'm dumb and I freaking talked to nobody for the last 20 minutes of the last episode. But before we go, I need to say thank you to my amazing sponsors. Thank you, Laura Bashir. Thank you, David Chiariello. Thank you, Matthew Silva. And our new one, this winking cat, Ilian. Thank you, Ilian. Thank you, Megan Gwynn. And thank you, Ian Crowell. Thank you guys so much. And of course, thank you to my sponsors past. Thank you guys for supporting the show. It means so much. And, oh yeah, and of course, if you would like to support the show and or download today's PSD, then you can do so just by clicking right here. Click on this PSD. It'll take you over to the Patreon where you can download not only this PSD, but all the other PSDs from the past, as well as all these other cool things, including, if you like the sponsor-looking icons here, you can even commission me to create one of these for you. Sponsor the show and all that good stuff. And, yeah, oh man. What a day. What a day. It feels good. I'm really glad that I'm going on vacation. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to have a good time seeing the Legend of Zelda concert. It's going to be a good time. If you're out there in Colorado, please come say hi. Please come shake my hand. Say hi to me. Yeah. I think that's going to be it, guys. So thank you once again for joining me on YouTube. Thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs down if you don't. Hope you guys learned some good things today. I know I certainly did. Thank you guys for allowing me to study these metals with you. Thank you for holding my hand. Thank you for holding my hand as we walk this path of learning about metals along with Mika. And I'm looking forward to next week. All right, guys? So I haven't quite figured out exactly what we're going to do yet. But rest assured, it's going to be freaking awesome. So you guys take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week. And until then, you guys stay awesome.